We're
Hey,
live. I love those songs.
I know.
Welcome, everyone, inside the Love to Sugar Facebook community. This is the Sweet Success Story series. We haven't done these in a while. I was doing a bunch of them over lockdown. And then we decided to launch the back end of the Sugar Network, and it's been busy. And we've Dolly and I have both been training students now that we can get our hands on people and really get people, just get them trained up and certified up. So let's get down to it. We are so excited to talk about success in the Love to Sugar community. And Dalia is definitely a success story. So, everyone, I would like to welcome, let me get my little banner here. I would like to welcome Dalia Wagley. She is the owner of Spa W in Irving and Bedford, Texas, and we will talk about that. And she's also a sugar educator with GetSugarCertified.com. Hello, Miss Thang.
Hello, Miss O'Brien. Thank you so much for having me. It is greatly appreciated to be on the Sugar Show.
I absolutely love how proper folks are in the South. No one ever calls me Miss O'Brien, and it makes my heart like light. I love it.
I do so well with my clients' last names, but my first name's not so. It's just a good. Some of my sugaring squad, they're like, you know her, and I was like, isn't her last name Stevenson? That's Miss Stevenson, right? And they're like, but they don't know the last name, but I know it, and I know all my clients' last name. First names, not so much.
Yeah, it's a Southern thing. I just love the grace of it. I love when people just refer to you as Miss so and so or Mr. so and so. I don't know. It's a grace thing. Y'all are used to it in the South.
Yeah, we're so used to
Y'all. Yeah,
it.
you're all used to it. So I brought you on the show today, Dahlia, because first of all, I would like to congratulate you for how far you have come. You are a bright, shining light in our industry, and I'm really proud to call you
Oh,
friend. And it's been really fun to watch you grow so quickly in just the last few years. And I think that a lot of people need to hear your story because they're really going to identify with you. And I just really have always admired you.
oh, thank you so much. Has definitely been hard work. That has, but we've definitely grinded on it, on my skill and then on my practice. But we are definitely, seeing the fruits of our labor now.
Atta girl, atta girl. Well, let's dial it. Let's go way back and let's talk about your humble beginnings and what were you doing before aesthetics?
Before aesthetics, I went to school, went to college, got my degree in child development, and I dabbled in child development and play therapy, and it just was not my jam, and I I don't
Which is
I could
funny because you're an amazing mom. I think it's like you're all right with your own kids, but everyone else's kids, it's like, ooh, not so much.
Mm, yeah, and I did really well with the kids. I liked kids, and I worked at a daycare and director at the YMCA, and I did stuff like that. But I could not handle parents. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. But I did better. And then I was like, this is not my mom is a teacher for 40 something years. My brother, and I come from a background of educators, but once I found that I wanted to manage a spa and be in the spa industry, I didn't want to do aesthetics at all. I just wanted to manage a spa. And so I remember I was like, well, if I have to manage a spa, I have to go to know what I'm kind of doing. And so I went to beauty school, and I went to Ogle over here in Bedford Hurst area. And I did that for, the 750 clock hours that it is in Texas, and as soon as I came out of beauty school, I was driving. This just tells you, let me tell you, I'm a risk taker, people. I was I was driving, and I noticed that there was this big purple building, and it said 504 Salon and Studios for it. I had just taken my aesthetic license, and I was freshly out of beauty school, And I was like, for rent, they got studios in there? I'm like, let me go check it out. I stopped, the owner was there. And then I was like, how much do you want for a week or what, rent? And then he said, I want $100 a week. And I was like, huh? And he would, because this was back then, $100 a week. And I said, I'll pay you $70 a week and I'll pay you a year in advance.
Atta girl.
And then I said, I want this room and I want you to paint it this way. I wanted him to do all the labor, And and then I came home and I told my hubby and I was like, I rented a studio today and I need to start getting it together and I need to get a bed and I need to get this and then back then I was waxing and I was like, I need my wax pot and all that stuff. And he was like, you rented a place? You don't have any clients. You just got out of school. I technically did not have my TDLR license in hand. It was
Like,
mailing
you
on
have
the way.
cojones.
And so I was like, and I knew it was going to take some time. The building wasn't done. He still had 2 or 3 months of construction going on. So I could do a little bit. And then I started right out of beauty school straight into my own business. And and threading was really big back then. And I was a threader. And, I thought, oh, I have to do threading eyebrows for $10. I was like, all I have to do is like 7 people a day to make even, and
How long
so,
ago was this?
man, well, I started sugaring in May of 2012. So I
So
had
when
already,
did you get your license?
oh, I can't even tell you the dates on that. Who knows? But before, I was probably already maybe like 2008 or '09, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I
Which
was
was
just,
pretty brave also because that was the big recession.
yes, it was the big recession. You're absolutely
Right.
correct.
So people were really cutting a lot of things out of their budget. So not only did you start your new business, but you started it at like the worst time.
I
Great job.
did. You are absolutely, because I remember that.
Yeah.
And people were getting laid off from jobs and there I remember that. And I was like, "Oh, my husband that's an accountant." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh, I can do it. I've calculated that I need to do so many brows to make a profit." And because brows were my thing then, that's what I felt comfortable threading and that's what waxing and I was doing one brow at a time.
So
So
tell me, how did you start hearing and learning about sugar? How did that come into your world?
I had a colleague and we were at an aesthetic show and I remember telling her I am so busy. I did like it was like 58 brows, And she was like, "What? That's crazy, Dahlia." Between me and another girl, we had seen so many clients on a Saturday. She was like, at $10. And she had just gotten certified in sugaring and she was like, why don't you do sugaring? And I was like, I don't know if I want to do sugaring. I'm not sure if I want to do Brazilians. And she's like, wouldn't you rather do like 4 Brazilians than 58 brows? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. We were just seeing a volume of brow clients. And then that's how I learned about sugaring. And then I took a sugaring practitioner class, got certified, worked on my ball, and slowly started to learn how to sugar. And another reason that I wanted to learn how to sugar is that I was in a salon that there was barbers there and they had high end clientele, some Dallas Cowboys, and a Dallas Cowboy had come to me for wax and I had waxed his chest and his back and he broke out with the wax. And then he was like, "Yeah, I can't do this. You have to find something better." And I was like, "Okay, because he's a Dallas Cowboy. Don't worry. Next time you come, I'll be better." And then I had sugared him like maybe 3 months later I sugared him and he said, "Whatever this is, baby girl, you stick with it." And I'll never forget that. He's like, "This is good, baby girl." And it was, I mean, he was smooth as could be, his back, and he loved it. And since not that many people were sugaring in Texas at that time, I was like, I'm on to something because he just was raving how smooth he was. And he was like, this is what I want. And that's kind of how I started. And then I slowly built my my empire.
Your empire.
I like to call. I'm trying to build my coochie castle.
I love it. I love it. So you're sugaring, you're successful. By the way, I think you should have told him that, you'd sugar the whole locker room. I'm just saying.
Oh,
So how did you kind of realize that you had that skill for teaching sugar? Because I think a lot of people think that they can just, I can sugar, I can teach. It's not that easy.
it's definitely not easy. And
It's a different skill set.
it is a different skill set. And sometimes you have to partner with people that are good at, doing certain things. And hold on 2 seconds. Um, you know, I really am good at the hands-on and doing great, that's I feel like I succeed at
It's your
that.
sweet spot, for
It's
sure.
my sweet spot, and kind of giving that tough love to my students. And I put them in situations that they're going to get in at their studios or at their spas. They may
Yeah,
not like it during the class, but they appreciate it later.
for
And
sure.
then they always text me back, "Oh, I got stuck and I used this trick," or "This is what I changed the temperature of my room," or "I bought the fan you told me to." And, it may be something so easy as putting a fan on the wall or a fan on the treatment table, or, just we don't know what their environment is. But I put them, my last class, and it's Texas starting to get hot. I turned off the AC in the studio, and I want them to
Oh,
see how the sugar paste changes.
yeah.
Because everybody, wants to be safe with the medium firm, and they want to be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
because they can control their ball better and they're feeling confident. I was like, AC off.
You're like you're like the drill sergeant. You
Well,
will sweat down your back while you sugar.
yeah, because they may be in a salon suite and they don't have control of the AC, and they're in just in a little studio, so they're not
Yeah.
going to have control of that at every room. And so I'm trying to put them like, hey, there's hair people there. They get hot, their AC goes on, or, they're getting cold. Someone's doing a massage because there's massage therapists there. I'm trying to put them in real life situations. And that's why we have partnered with Love to Sugar as well, because I'm great at hands-on, not so techie. Okay. And
You're
Shannon
getting
is
there.
I'm getting much better, but I'm getting slowly. And with the online partner program with Love to Sugar, and I'm able to offer the online sugaring practitioner course to students that want to do online and get certified through the Love to Sugar program. And which is great. You do the modules, they follow, and then if they need help hands-on, then they can come to me, and then we can give them a kind of a hybrid blend.
And then you can put them through the ringer.
Yes, but that's
But
my
it's a good ringer,
it
because
is a
I
good
think that
ringer.
if we act as if everything's always, perfect 69 degrees in the room, air is circulating, everything's perfect, client is cool, like that's not reality.
Correct.
Reality is they're sweaty, you're sweaty, maybe your sugar, isn't at the right consistency for the day when you walk in, because and somebody turned up the volume somehow, the cleaning lady bumped it or whatever, and now you've got watery sugar. Like there's all these things, and if you don't know how to handle those issues, you think, oh, sugaring's too hard,
Right. And I
and it's
encourage, if you're on the fence about sugaring and you're not, you're kind of like, oh, you're teeter-tottering, you definitely have to make that decision to just do it. You just
yeah.
have to make that decision, and it's a risk. It's a risk of doing something different. Waxing is comfortable. It's what we learn in beauty school. It's what we
Mhm.
feel comfortable with. But big risk have big rewards. And out of a little tub of sugar, the profit margin is amazing.
Right.
So, and that's I always tell my students, big risk, big rewards. Just do it and commit to whether it's a hands-on program
Yeah.
or a online program. You have to make the commitment to just do it, like the Nike slogan.
That's right. That's right. You and I were talking before the show started about your students, and that you're getting students now coming to Texas from all over the country.
That is
Things
correct.
are really shifting, and a lot of folks from California are bailing to other states and vice versa, and there's a lot of shift. And so if we can work together as sugaring professionals, educate each other, look out for each other. If there's somebody in your area that sugars, like say, I know you have clients that will leave and go to another state, like you want to be able to service them and provide them with a network of people. So I love that, you're there, and a lot of people say, oh, do you know anyone that teaches in Texas? And your name usually comes up in the sugar community, which is really cool.
Well, that's cool. I try to work hard on get sugar certified.
Yes, you absolutely have. So, what would you say that you're seeing the biggest struggle is that people need the most help with when they come for a perfection class with you?
I would say when they come for, whether a perfection class or a Brazilian boot camp, it is how to control the ball of sugar in different environments. Whether they're using a hard paste or cocktailing, and they just need, and it's very minute sometimes, holding the skin taut or an electric table, or they have to stand on a stool, little tips,
Yeah.
that make a big difference.
But it's patience.
It's
They need
patience,
to
yes.
just have patience, because I don't know about you, but I was terrible when I started.
Oh, and I would tell people, and I tell, the girls that work for me, they can tell when I get tired. I mean, last Saturday, I think we had all studios going, and we saw like almost 30 Brazilians in
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out. My last one, I can't do it. My hand was hurting. My hand that I'm holding taut with, my elbows hurting. And I was like, and my assistant that's been with me for 10 years, she can tell. She's like, I'll handle this one. I'll finish it. And which I'm grateful to have and be lucky to have an assistant. And some people don't have that, but I always tell them, if you practice on your craft and just slowly beat on it, you just got to beat on the balls
Yeah.
and do that practice
Focus on
and
your balls, baby.
focus on your balls, and then you'll slowly,
Yeah.
get better. But if you don't practice, you lose it.
Yeah. Let's talk about your assistant, not
Yes.
necessarily her personally, but the fact that you have an assistant. How do you utilize an assistant in your practice?
I am very big. If you knew, let me tell you a little background. I don't watch too much TV, but I like The Prophet, Shark Tank, and a novela, a Mexican novela on Telemundo.
Mhm.
And I always watch Shark Tank or The Prophet. And I've learned, and have some business mentorship, but like your people, your process, is a big, and your profit.
Yeah.
And I utilize my assistant. So when I'm checking out a customer, she's already flipped the room, and I have my treatment time down to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me 10 minutes of, sanitation, flipping the room, and 17 minutes with the client.
Atta girl.
So 17 minutes. I mean, I even take my gloves outside the treatment room. So when I come in, my assistant's boom, and I'm ready to go. So I'm not wasting time, even putting on gloves, talking to the client. I'm already gloved up, ready to go, and it's boom. So I've cut the time down in the treatment room. And that doesn't mean that you don't receive fanatical customer service, because I'm big on customer service.
Mhm.
You do, but I've just got the process down, kind of like a fast food place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you utilize her mostly for the room flip
The room
and
flip and getting ready. And so she'll cleanse the client and she'll powder it. She'll explain the frog or the butterfly, when she asks you to butterfly like this or a frog like this, we're gonna do knees to chest. She goes over the Brazilian yoga. We call it Brazilian yoga. And she does all and ask the client, do they have any allergies? Have they been sugared before? Are they a new client? She gives the pre and post. And, if I'm running behind, she may start and be like, Dalia's running behind a little bit. She's going to check out the other client and reschedule or whatever it may be. But I'm going to go ahead and start, and we're going to get you going. and she shows them the sugar ball. And that's important to let the clients know. If I can open this tub. Ugh, I may not be able to
How
open
many
the tub.
rooms do you have while you're opening that? How many rooms do you have in each of your facilities?
2.
So 2 in Irving and
2 in Bedford.
2 in Bedford. Okay.
Yep.
So do
And
you go back and forth in the treatment room? So while you're
yes.
sugaring, she's setting up the other room, and then you just walk right in, sugar, walk right in.
What
So you're kind of going back and forth.
Correct. And I'm just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Girl, you can get 4 Brazilians in an hour.
I do.
Atta girl.
I
Did
don't
y'all
have
hear that in the Love to Sugar community? 4
no
Brazilians an hour minimum.
minimum. Yeah, I do.
Double that money.
That and and my assistant a lot of times will get the ball out, show it to the client, and be like, this is lemon juice, sugar, and water, has the consistency of taffy. And we kind of have our little pitch that
For the first timers.
For the first timers, correct. If you have any questions, and she'll do a mold on the client, so she could be like, this is the molding process, this is the flicking process, so that they can feel like you're going to feel a little bit of the tug, and if it's too much, please let us know. And then we educate, and she leaves the ball on the skin. I'm ready to go, and then
you pick up the ball and have at it.
So, and a lot of people will say, well, I don't have a payroll for an assistant, or I don't have. You will if you're doing 4 or 5 Brazilians an hour.
That's right.
You will. So, I mean, that's the goal. And though you need to have people that want to help your brand grow and kind of see the same, vision that you do. And I'm very lucky. I would lose my left hand for Lusana. I'm very lucky that she's with me, and I have, Kelsey that does my virtual stuff and my social media and all my. It definitely takes a team.
It takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Oh, girl, I do. So then is Luciana, is she a sugaring professional, or is she licensed sugaring professional?
Correct.
She like an intern?
Yes. And the thing is that she's also a mom, and she likes to, she doesn't want quite to work too much and and so she's a mom. And, I work with her schedule because I do sympathize like that. And if she needs something off for her kids or whatever, I'm a very good boss. I try to work with their schedule.
I'm sure you are. I'd love to work with you. So let's dive in to your products that I see behind your shoulder there.
Okay.
So you are a brand neutral educator, for lack
Correct.
of a better term. So if someone is using a certain professional skincare line or sugar line, you can actually help them with their sugaring, say with Brazilians or whatnot after. But
Correct.
you do use a brand neutral paste, which you saw their audience just earlier. You do use a brand neutral paste, which is great. And you do not sell it, just like we don't.
Right.
Because the goal is to have the students purchase from a company that makes them happy, that's close to them, that works in their room, and you'll help them with that. But you do have back bar. And I love that your entrepreneurial spirit knows what your limitations are. So you do not want to be a sugar producer. I get it. I'm in the same boat. But you do know the products that you love, and you have found back bar products that you really enjoy and retail products. So let's walk through how you do it all and how you came about the products that you love in the back bar. So show them kind of what you have available. And these are available for purchase, correct?
There are for purchase and private labeling. I do have a soft spot for estheticians that are getting started, because they want to have, these products in their line. They want to have products in their studios, but they don't want to buy 1,000 ingrown hair serums because they're just starting out. So I do work with estheticians that are with low minimums, because I was once that esthetician and I couldn't afford 1,000 or 1,200 meeting that minimum of products. So I do work. My ingrown hair serum is probably my most popular. And we actually have a mask coming out, and I forgot it at the other studio, but I'll show it. And but
you can show it in the community later.
The ingrown hair serum, and every client leaves with one, And then I have a charcoal bar of soap, charcoal and pumice. And so I'll always tell people, like, you're not scrubbing dishes, gentle care for down there. And then volcano ash and exfoliator. This is a cream based exfoliator. So when you don't need something so strong, you can use the volcano ash.
Yeah.
And so I actually have a client, and a lot of my growth comes from making those connections with clients, whether it be an NFL player, a Real Housewives of Dallas, you have to make those connections with people. Because I had a client that was a chemist. And I was like, oh, what do you do? Because he made a comment on some packaging. He was like, Dalia, I can get you way better packaging than that. And I was like, well, what do you do? Well, can you give me some packaging? And he owned a lab that does these great big, him and his wife. And he was like, oh, let me hook you up with my wife. And I was like, what? You've been coming to me and I'm just figuring this out. And so he has helped me with the journey of creating a product and knowing the background of it. And he comes to get sugared and facials by me. And he's right down the street from my Irving studio. He brings serums. I don't have to pay for shipping. Brings them right to my door. When he comes, he's like, you want me to take your order? Absolutely. Bring my order.
Oh, I love it. And you have to ask, you have to know your clients. And so you wouldn't even know if you just were talking about yourself or talking about, gossiping or whatever. You wouldn't know about your clients and what they do if you don't ask.
And if you don't ask, and they want to see you succeed as much as anybody. And the word of mouth is, I always ask now when I have new clients, I'm like, how did you hear about me? And because I want to know, because if they were referred by, Anna, I want to make sure that I send Anna a text and say, hey, thank you so much for the referral. It's greatly appreciated. And that's how a small business grows.
For sure. For sure. So any last words to the newbies and even the seasoned pros on what you're seeing in our industry, or just any last minute tidbits before we go?
I know it's been challenging, these couple, I feel like it's 2 years, but it's been challenging with COVID and, making our practices work. Keep grinding it out. I always say that, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
That's right.
So, we got to make it. So if you're wanting to make the switch to sugar, I highly recommend it, whether it be online or a hands-on course. And, we're tough girls. We can make it happen, and we're sugar strong. And I feel confident, if you're on the fence, that if you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me on the social media platforms.
Yep.
And that's how we grow. And I'll be more than glad to help. It may not be right away, but I will do it.
Once you get your hands out of the sugar gloves.
Exactly. But we'll make it happen. And I'm a big person of old school talking and FaceTiming versus texting. And I help students now via FaceTime, that are getting stuck. And, y'all stick with it and we can make it, and we'll come out, all have sweet success stories.
That's right. I love it. Keep the sweet success stories coming. And my friends, you can find Dalia at getsugarcertified.com. If you are near Irving or Bedford, Texas, you can swing by and get sugared by her there. She is on the Sugar Network, and she is just a force to be reckoned with. And I'm so glad that we could share your story, Dalia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to thesugardnetwork.com. Right now, we are in phase 1, and you have been invited to be, in essence, like a founding member and a part of the movement, really, to come together to make the Sugar Network a robust, amazing experience, not only for us, but for the public as well. So, step 1, go to www.thesugardnetwork.com. Number 2, join the network at the yellow button above. Fill in your profile and remember to put in your license and certification information so that we can make sure that you are legit. Because this is so much more than a Google search. We want you to set yourself apart from just a basic keyword Google search, but really showcase everything that your sugar business has to offer. And number 3, take a look around at other pros and other vendors that are offering online training in the library or hands-on training in your area. We are so excited that you can all have a place to now finally come together and connect and network so that we can make 2021 the strongest ever. Phase 2 will be a public push where we are going to make sure that you can get found and they can get sugar. So jump on the sugarnetwork.com, get your profile loaded up, and let's make 2021 the sweetest and strongest ever.